Okay, let's just get started, and anybody else who joins, they can just catch up. So, everyone, thank you for coming. I am Saskia, aka Sincerely Saskia, and thank you for joining us today. I'm a contributor with Voice Mag, and for those of you who don't know, Voice Mag is a youth magazine that exists online, and we cover everything from like politics, culture, film, and we're also involved with Arts Award as well, which is what brings us all here today. We are going to be joined by young actor Akash Prasad, which we're really excited about. Well, I am anyway. And he's going to be talking to us about, how he approaches characters and his most recent film, Built to Be, as well. This workshop comes to us by Arts Awards England and their COVID-19 emergency relief fund for actors and creatives who have been like struggling or just need a bit of extra support during this time. So we're really excited that they could do that and we can all do this today. So after the Insta Live, for those who want to come along to our Zoom Skillshare workshop, where we'll be joined by Akash as well, who will be showing us like how he approaches character. He'll be doing some workshops. I know he's been working on it, so it'd be great if you guys want to come along afterwards. It will be about half an hour, but if you do want to come along, Sienna, who's in the chat now, will drop the Zoom link, and then straight after this, just come over and join, and it will be really fun. So let's bring Akash in, shall we?
Hello, how's it going?
Hi, Akash, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. It's great to officially meet you.
Yeah, same as well. Good chatting to you the other day.
Yeah, that was lovely. It was lovely. I'm just making sure I've remembered, which hand, which nose.
Oh, right
Yeah.
hand is a regular, yeah.
Okay, cool. It's a little inside joke.
Yeah, don't
But
worry too much
everything
about
else.
it.
Yeah.
So, let's get started on a couple of questions. Why don't you actually
Yeah, sure.
introduce yourself first and tell everybody like who you are and what you've been working on lately?
Sure, yeah, sure thing. So, hi everyone who's joined so far. It's great to virtually meet you. This is my first time going live as well, so yeah, like it's an experience for me as well. Basically, I am an actor and a writer slash producer from Harrow, Northwest London. I've been acting for roughly I want to say around 4.5 years now. Coming up to 5 years in October. And yeah, essentially my main focus between all of these different things is acting. However, a couple of years ago, I did kind of find myself in a position where I was getting involved in independent theatre and a lot of independent projects. And I just kind of saw how almost how accessible it was to go about creating your own work and getting it put onto, different platforms.
Mm.
And that very much kind of inspired me to get into writing. And writing was always something I had a big fascination with as a kid as well. So yeah, just being able to go through that route has definitely opened a lot of doors for me in the creative industries. Definitely helped me expand my network and my connections, which is fantastic. And yeah, and I think for a lot of actors who have a vision of themselves or just just a general vision of something that they want to support or put out there, I couldn't recommend learning to become a writer. I think sometimes actors are some of the people with the most interesting and exciting stories to tell.
Yeah, and for all of you, anyone in the chat who actually wants to get into film, Akash spoke about how accessible it was, and that's definitely something that we'll be going over in the Skillshares workshop as well. So there'll be more on that later. So it's funny because I actually watched your film Built to Be, and I used to
Mm.
go to college in Harrow. So I saw, like, I recognized the street immediately. I was just like, oh my God, it's Harrow.
Putting Harrow on a map and all that.
Yeah, I'm not so
Yeah.
sure that's a good thing, but we'll come
No,
back
of
to that.
course. Personally, I think it's a great thing because you know, I think it's great to embrace where we're from, because I think a lot of the time where we're from definitely does play a big part in shaping our identity as people.
Yeah.
I'm very much someone who's traveled around for a lot of my life, lived in different areas, but predominantly I grew up in Harrow, and Harrow is not an area I see myself staying for the rest of my life. So
Mhm.
being able to kind of put it in my film was almost like, in some ways, not to get too romantic about it, but it's kind of like my love letter to my, to my hometown of where I've come from, I suppose. Um,
Yeah. Like you're
yeah,
capturing a piece of it that you can kind of keep and be fond of forever.
yeah, basically.
And that's a really nice way to put it. I didn't really think
Yeah.
of it that way, but yeah, that's really nice to hear.
Then again, like we did shoot it in other areas as well. I mean, a lot of the streets that you saw in the film were shot in Harrow, but um, for instance, the jewelry shop and the school we filmed in were completely different areas. The jewelry shop was in Hayes, and the school was actually in Ealing at a place called Brentside High School, or Brentside High.
Oh, right.
In,
Okay. Yeah. I'm familiar with it. Yeah.
yeah, so it's just a mix of different boroughs in there, just to kind of, with locations and with films, it's always the case, to be honest with you. Just, you're never going to really find everything you want in one specific place. So
Yeah.
a lot of it is compromising. But yeah.
For anyone who wants to see Built to Be, it is on YouTube. So maybe if Sienna wouldn't mind dropping the link in the comment section so that after this people can have a watch. It's very good. And it also has Adam Deacon in it as well, which I thought was great that you got somebody like that in there as well.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I mean, he was just, yeah, like, I don't know what I can really say about the guy apart from he's just such a lovely and genuine human being. And just being able to work with him for the brief moments we had with him on set, because he was around for 2 out of 6 days of our shooting schedule,
Mhm.
um, filming the movie, and it was just such a learning experience being able to work with him, just to see the ease of how he kind of approaches his characters and the comfortability within um, the different spaces he finds himself in as an actor. His adaptability very much was admiring to just to watch as a, as a young up and coming actor, especially at the time where I hadn't really done too many projects. So being able to work with such a, a decorated and experienced actor was just, yeah, it was invaluable. And yeah.
Well, speaking of your experience and stuff, I know that you write, you act, you produce as well. Which of the three would you say that you enjoyed doing the most?
Ooh, okay. That's a tough question for me, because I'm one of these people who, I wouldn't say gets bored very easily, because I've learned to kind of work on my patience and whatnot. But I
Mhm.
would say it's hard to pinpoint, because between acting and writing, one thing I would say is producing is probably my least favorite, just because of the amount of stress and logistical planning and preparation that's involved in the process of being a
Mhm.
producer. I think it's not for everyone, and I know it's a different headspace entirely that I need to put myself into. So for me personally, it's my least favorite. But with acting and writing, it's a different one, because it kind of depends on the project, how personal it is to you as well. I
Mhm.
know if I was being commissioned to do a project, whilst at the same time, maybe I'm working on developing my own feature film for an idea I've had for a very long time, a big part of me may lean more towards acting in my own feature film, as opposed to, you know, being a commissioned writer for a certain project. So I think it's very much a thing of phases with me, very much kind of depends on what's happening, what's going on, and the different projects. But yeah, I think it's an equal kind of love for me. Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people don't really realize like how much work producing actually involves. So that's why I always admire actors who kind of, they do a bit of both. Like, they could be acting in a series, for example, and then by third or fourth series, they've got a producer credit. And
Mm.
it's just really good to see them make that um, what's it called, like a hand, like the transition into it,
Yeah,
because not a lot
yeah,
of people do.
definitely. No, I mean, I think it's very admirable in the sense of acting. Acting alone can be quite a rigorous process, depending on your role, depending on the nature of the shoot, and all of these different components, right?
Mhm.
So having the added, pressure of stringing together a production, it's a lot of responsibility on a person's shoulders. So I think it's very much something where it requires a lot of practice and patience as well. Patience of learning to adapt to new situations, because not everything is always going to go as you may have envisioned or planned. So it's
Mm.
just having that sense of openness and adaptability about you, where you can really just um, take situations as they come and just problem solve where you can, if any potential issues do arise. But
Yeah,
definitely do think it's not for everybody, but at the same time, the people who can do it and pull it off are, I think are quite exceptional people to be able to do so.
yeah. You definitely have a good outlook on it as well. So I'm sure that you're good at juggling all three of them, even if the producer role kind of does make you feel a little bit weighed down sometimes.
Yeah, thank you. No, I honestly I appreciate it. The underlying thing with me is always just knowing your strengths and knowing your weaknesses as well,
Yeah.
because self-awareness is really kind of everything in my profession anyway. Just
Mhm.
knowing your competence and where your weaknesses lie allows you to kind of look ahead as a producer and see, okay, cool, maybe I'm not the most competent in these areas, but I can find someone whose skill set complements my own and
Yeah.
makes up for the areas I'm lacking, which was very much a big case with my last short film, Built to Be. That is the one we're talking about at the moment. Just being able to have our director on board, for instance, Irene Maffey, who I just want to talk about for half a minute, because she is um, predominantly, she works mainly as a first AD, and she hadn't directed a short film since, I want to say, around 2007 in Italy.
Oh wow.
And yeah, Italy is where she's from as well. I think I think she is from Naples. I need to make sure. Anyway, diverting. Yeah, she won awards for that project, and I think the film Trey, it's called, which you can find online on Vimeo, was screened on international television as well, and it did quite well. Um, so she has this extensive experience as a director, but predominantly her bread and butter is being a first AD. Now, having a director like that on board your project means that they're able to offer a different level of insight from a different department in
Mhm.
producing and making films and making productions. So she was really schooling me on a lot of things I would need, given the locations I proposed to her, the actors, and the costumes and all of these different components that I had told her about. She very much helped me navigate through a lot of the kind of hurdles I would have found along the way, and just kind of helped to get me straight to the point of the things I would 100% need to make it run as smoothly and as efficiently as possible.
Yeah.
So I think when you're able to have someone, especially if you're like me and you're a first time writer, producer, director, whatever you want to call it, having someone whose skill set exceeds yours yet complements yours is very much a highly desirable thing in my eyes that
Yeah.
anyone should really have and anyone should look out for.
Yeah, you definitely sound like you had a really good team behind you when it came to Built to Be,
Well,
which is
thank
great
you.
because you don't want the first film that you make to be like, you never want it to be a bad experience. Obviously, you'll put everything that you have into it, but it's just good to know that there are people out there who are supporting you in that as well.
Oh God, yeah. Honestly, the support has been it's been amazing. It's been overwhelming. Um, yeah, just on all different levels. Like last year, the film was received in, I believe, 9 film festivals around the world, which was, like, it was a big thing for me just being a first time writer. It was just, I remember every month or so we were getting into at least 2 festivals, and it was just like, wow, this is happening. And
Yeah.
afterwards as well, just finding a platform for it. The film is obviously on the YouTube channel, Million Youth Media, MYM. And the guys at MYM were just so supportive with the project. They came down to our first screening at the Peckhamplex in July. Teddy Nye, who's the founder of Fully Focused as well, who's kind of at the head of the different departments. He just, yeah, like he really enjoyed the film. He commended me for getting it done and everything. And yeah, like him and his team were just so supportive with promoting it, getting out there, getting it seen by the right people as well. And yeah, it's just when you, I think one thing I've noticed just from my experience as well, people who put themselves out there to do more for themselves, and even if you're not the greatest at it at first, nobody is. The first step is just doing it, just trying it, and just showing that you're capable of pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. But when you're able to do it in a way, on a competent level, I think more and more people will, be drawn to what you're doing. Um, you know, I think talent a lot of the time and ability will speak for itself, and it's just a matter of getting your hands in there, getting your hands dirty and doing it, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, this is all great advice. I mean, you can see DJ04 says she's so captured by the conversation, and you really do have a way with words. So,
Oh, thank you.
okay, so in the workshop, we're going to be talking about building and approaching characters.
hmm
So, can you tell us briefly about how you approach creating a character or even acting as one?
Okay. Well, I'm going to save a lot of that stuff for the workshop, but for my own personal process, really kind of, I always have different ways, if I'm being completely honest with you, when I approach a character. It all very much depends on the nature of a project, the nature of a character, and his background. One thing I always try to do is just identify the elements in myself as a human being, as a person, that I can really relate to the person I would be playing. And anything that may not connect as well, I kind of leave at the door. Moving forward, I leave it at the door because I know it's not going to serve me as well. A lot of the time, I just try and enhance the components or elements, whatever you want to call it, within myself, be it emotions, be it knowledge, be it memories. Uh, I very much kind of exaggerate them in a lot of ways. I'm very much someone who works through imagination rather than life experience, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I try and find a balance with the two because I feel like if you're constantly drawing from your life experiences, sometimes it may not always be as potent with achieving the sort of results that you envision as an actor. So I always push forward my imagination, and I try to learn. I try to learn from people, if anything. I'm not an actor who really sits down and studies other actors like oh my god, yeah, yeah, like but there's a few, I'm not gonna lie, there's a few who I am like that with, but at the same time it's like I learn more from people, to be honest with you. I'm an extrovert, so I'm a people person. I love just learning from people and their life experiences, and if I can champion their life experiences in a way that kind of serves the greater good of a project or a character I'm playing, and they don't kind of mind me taking inspiration from their life stories a little bit, then that's kind of really my process, just pushing forward the imagination and learning from people, because human beings are the best people to learn from rather than any other actor you want to watch on screen. People are by far the most interesting, definitely.
It's really interesting that you say that because a lot of people tend to say that they draw from their life experiences and it helps them put a piece of themselves in like every character that they do. But
Yeah,
it's a really interesting concept, finding a balance between the two and using your
yeah,
imagination. Because even, I don't know, even if you can relate to a character that you're playing, you it's not enough. I feel like you always want to try and elevate that. You always want to try and take it to the next level. And I guess
yeah.
that's where, using your imagination comes into it.
Yeah, I genuinely think so too, because it's like I was saying with life experiences. I think as well as it not always being able to always get you to the places you want to, that you envision as an actor. I think sometimes it can be a little bit traumatizing, you know, especially if you're digging your teeth into like a very melancholy sort of part. Like closest example for me, for instance, is Built to Be. Playing Shrey was like, I kind of forced myself to stay within that headspace for a lot of the shoot, because I felt like, you know, with the continuity and the connection with the different scenes and how it played off into the schedule, I couldn't really afford to allow myself to break out of that headspace as a character. But yeah, like with imagination, it really is a relief and an escape, I want to say, from, I guess, the harshness of realities, I suppose, you know, of your reality, and reliving trauma.
Yeah.
Now I feel like I've made it dark.
Let's
Sorry
bring
guys,
it back
my
up
life
again.
ain't that bad. Trust me, my life's fine. Um, no, just in the general sense, you know, like,
Yeah.
no one likes to relive traumatizing experience. No human being likes to do it.
Yeah.
You know, we're all creatures of comfort and happiness, and I think that's the best way to live our lives. As well as doing good onto other people and to ourselves. Self-love is very important. So love yourself a bit more, actors, and create new memories for yourself. That's the best, like, outlook I can give to, you know, approaching characters and drawing from experiences.
Yeah. I think that's a happier note to end that part of the conversation.
Sorry, man. You know, it's difficult. I'm a writer as well, so like, before I know it, I'm just, yeah, I've taken conversations to a whole nother level, and it's just like, did you really need to take it there? And I'm just like, no, but it sounded a bit different in my head. It's, yeah, so just
No, I
don't know.
completely understand. I'm a writer as well, so I'm kind of like
Oh,
a
amazing.
buzzkill around
Yeah,
my friends. Like they'll say something and I'm just like, no, but did you really think about it this way? And they're like, oh my god,
yeah,
Saskia, shut up.
yeah.
So, okay, so why don't you tell everyone like what you're working on at the moment?
Ooh, um, yeah, I'm working on a few different things at the moment. Really, I'm just kind of, it's really just a matter of prioritizing, I guess, the projects I know will likely see the light of day first. And I'm working on a short spoken word film at the moment about a lot of the protests that have been going on in the world at the moment. A lot of it mainly surrounding the death of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, but a lot of it is really heavily based on addressing misconceptions that people may have towards ethnic minority groups, and, you know, just the misconceptions towards people's life experiences, from from their points of view, just addressing stereotypes in a lot of ways. And I feel like we've told it in such an interesting way, because a lot of the dialogue is split between myself and another actor, Moses Alexander, his name is. And it's a project that I'm producing, I've written, and I'm acting in. And this time I'm actually looking to direct it with the aid of my trusted DOP from Built to Be, Michael Spry. It's only a 6-7 minute project, but at the same time, I did want to ensure that the quality, consistency with my work is kind of maintained, and
Yeah.
I'm not steering. I'm not, you know, like, it's hard shoes to fill. Like, you know, Built to Be was, I feel like I exceeded myself on many levels as a person and as a filmmaker to produce that film. So it's very important to me to just ensure that I'm not kind of watering down the quality of my writing or of projects I attach myself to as a person, because projects that I do tend to work on myself is like, you know, it's also always, I think it's the same for you as well. It's a lot more personal, and it's like your baby, you know, you don't want to jeopardize your baby in
Yeah.
any way. Um, but yeah, aside from that, like with the lockdown and everything happening, booking jobs and booking, you know, more acting work has been a bit downward with everything happening.
Yeah.
But it's given me a lot more time to focus on my creative sensibilities as a writer and just explore different avenues. But yeah, so aside from that spoken word project, I'm also looking at producing and getting another project off of the ground, which is it's like a spoken word film um, with a narrative it's told through, but it's mainly about this this influencer slash rapper
Okay.
who's doing quite well for himself online, but he works a normal 9 to 5 job in retail, and he gets treated a bit like I wouldn't say a slave worker, but I feel like he's very much misunderstood and mistreated on on different levels at his workplace. But it's more of a thing of like entitlement that he has because of some of his accolades that he's achieved outside of his 9 to 5 job. He does feel a little bit more entitled to a different sense of treatment. The film is basically a character study about this character's life experiences.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it's quite an ambiguous story as well. Taking the mantle of films like Joker or Fight Club, any sort of films that you would classify or identify as character studies,
Hmm.
I very much hope this film is it's up there on in the sense of you can watch it and draw different conclusions about who you thought was right or who you thought was wrong, and
Yeah.
where you kind of draw the line morally, I suppose. But yeah, aside from that, just keeping busy, trying to stay as active as I can. I'm someone with a lot of energy, so working out always helps.
Mhm.
But yeah, just honestly taking each day as it comes, and that's something I want to address to all the people who are watching right now as well. Just especially in such uncertain times as well, knowing how to kind of relieve any anxieties or stresses about the future and where you see yourself will only allow you more clarity to focus on the things that are most important to you, and it will give you more time to just be more appreciative and grateful and more present towards your surroundings and all of the good things that are happening now. So with everything going on and happening with COVID, I'm really I've really kind of pushed myself these past few months to look on the bright side of things and just trying to stay as optimistic and as positive as possible with it all. And I think that's the best way to stay, honestly.
Yeah, it's so important, especially when nobody knows, what's gonna happen next. I think those words are very wise words for us to wrap up on, actually.
Amazing. All
So,
right.
what we're gonna do now for everybody who's still with us, if you just take a few minutes and then come and join us in the Zoom Skillshare workshop, which I'm going to Sienna, if you can put the link in it again, just for those who might have joined or didn't see it. And then we're going to be talking about how Akash approaches character. And I know he has some really great things to share with you, so it's going to be good.
Definitely stick around.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, are you ready to come over to Zoom, Akash?
I am just getting my laptop up at the moment.
Okay.
I don't want to do it on my phone just because I know what my phone is like.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Well, thanks everybody who joined, and I hope you enjoyed this talk and found it really insightful because I know I did. And yeah, just take a few minutes and then come over and join us on Zoom. We'll probably start around 7:05. Okay.
all right. Perfect. See
I'll see
everyone
you in a
soon.
minute, Cash.
See you soon, Sophia.
Take care, everyone. I'll see you soon, hopefully.